Hi guys, I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft, and today I want to talk about Firesteels for just a second. Now, a Firesteel is a mishmash rod of multiple metals that on friction being applied to it, particles will shear off and combust in the air due to the friction. This is different than flint and steel. Flint and steel is taking a piece of iron, steel, and hitting it with a flint rock. The flint is harder than the steel, and just like when you see someone take a piece of metal and put it in a grinder and sparks start flying, that's what happens. It will grab and snatch small pieces of particles off, and they will combust in the air due to the friction. Now that's where a lot of people make a mistake in their fire making, because they don't understand the nature of this spark. So let me explain it a little bit to you. When I shear off a piece of, let's say, steel, it's going to reach a top temperature of somewhere around 800 degrees. Paper's combustion point is somewhere around 400, 415 degrees. But the thing is, you're striking and the spark will start, escalate in temperature, peak, and then be dropping in temperature. Should that spark land on your target, and it's only at 500 degrees, it does not have time for thermal mass exchange for it to combust the paper. You need to be real close. Now, a fire rod, or a mishmash metal, whatever you want to call them, the ferro rod, etc., is predominantly magnesium and a lot of other metals. But the point is that when it shears off, it creates a spark that's somewhere between 3,000 to 5,000 degrees in temperature. Much higher, so it peaks and you have a longer above combustion point peak level. Another thing that will affect spark is your atmosphere. Like right now I'm sitting here and it rained all day yesterday and it's probably 80 or 90% humidity. I am rolling in sweat. That means that the saturation point of the air, when that spark emerges and it goes so high so fast, if you could look at it through a microscope, the water in the air around it starts to boil and becomes steam at a micro level, and that's sucking heat away from that spark. So it will shed heat quicker in a humid, damp, or cold environment than it would in a bone dry environment. Thus, it's very hard to start a fire in the jungle because everything's damp. No matter what it is, it's damp. Same thing in Arizona, California, a lot of these desert countries. The slightest little spark from like flint and steel is very easy to combust. Flint and steel usually has to have tinder like char cloth, almost something perfect to receive it. A fire rod does not. It can ignite normal materials because it does have such a high combustion level. But it's how you do it that makes the difference. Now remember I talked about peak time. The actual act of striking the spark is the last step in the fire making thing. You've done all your preparation, you've got your fire lay done, your wood split, you got your kindling, your fuel, your tinder laying right here. You've already built your fire lay so that when I ignite my tinder and stick it under there, it's going to go. My tinder is as fluffy, as many fibers, and as bone dry as I can make it given my conditions. When all of that is in place, only then do you pull out the ignition source. Think of this like pulling the ripcord on a parachute. You don't pull it on the ground. You pull it too high, you float off. Pull it too slow, you smack the ground. This is pulled at the right time, and that is when all the preparation is done. We've got everything set. Now, another thing that I see guys doing is they're doing this. They've got their tinder bundle up here and they got their fire rod and they're doing this. And sparks are going everywhere, but they're not going where you need. You need to target and focus your spark into target. Now, let me show you something. Let us say that my fire tinder bundle is right here. What I want to do, and I'm going to use this sheath to represent the tinder bundle, right there. Make sure you can see that, okay? I'm going to stiff arm, I'm right-handed, if I was left-handed, reverse it. Stiff arm, holding and putting the heel of that knife on the ground, anchoring it solid. Now I'm going to put the rod up there, putting my finger behind the rod to support it. Don't hold it back here, it wiggles too much. Don't put your finger on the tip, you'll burn it. Put it about in the middle of the rod, holding it. Okay? I want to bear up against it and kind of wiggle it a little bit. I want the edge of my striking surface to kind of bite into the metal. Okay? Now, when I pull, I want that to happen. I want that spark to leap off and hit there and sizzle and look at me for a minute. I am maximizing my burn time by wiggling it. I bit in so that I'm going to shear off a bigger hunk of metal. It's going to hit there and dance for maybe 5 seconds. That 5 seconds of 3,000 degree heat is enough to get the fire started. Now, if I don't get it on the first strike, I go back again. This fast thing only works when you've got marginal tinder, but use it as a last resort. You're chewing up your rod. Conserve your resources. Bite, set, pull, and make a big flash right here. Have from the edge of your striking to your tinder no more than like 2 to 3 inches. In fact, put it in there. If it's again, it should be the size of a softball minimum. Football's even better. Put your fist against it and push the ferro rod into the tinder bundle so that when you strike, it's a 1-to-1 connection. Therefore, I am maximizing my burn time, I'm minimizing my environmental impact, and I am maximizing my chance for it to catch and ignite. I've already got my fire layer. Everything is set to go. When I pull that ripcord, everything's in motion. I hope this gives you some ideas, guys. It's technique is 90% of it. I, like everybody else, started out with flint and steel. And you're sitting here doing like this and throwing sparks in an area, and I learned to carry a char tin full of all kinds of material and just let the sparks fall wherever they may, and whatever caught, pull that out and use that. With a ferro rod, I got a greater advantage. I can still use those things, but this gives me the greatest advantage. I can ignite paper, I can ignite whatever. I can ignite grasses, barks, shavings. And from that's the reason this is my #1 choice for a primitive fire method. When it really counts, remember what Blackie said? Pull out a lighter. Don't mess with this. Okay guys, hope this gives you some ideas. Please leave your comments, any questions, concerns. If you're having a problem with your fire sets, drop me a line. I'll be glad to give you some pointers. I'm Blackie for Shaman's Forge Bushcraft, wishing you safe journeys. Have a great day, guys.